wait for people to join, the online session, or we will start immediately the moment you go live? How will it
Usually
be?
we welcome all and we'll wait for a minute or so, then we can start.
Okay,
Yep,
then we
we are
start.
live now.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are live now. I just started it.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm Kajal, and I welcome you all to the Geo Heartfulness session. A very warm morning for all of you. I hope you're having a good day. The session today is on seeing the opportunity in the challenges. It's about how meditation can help us in fighting our stress levels and calming our mind, calming our soul, and being a happy person inside. And today we have our guests with us. We'll shortly introduce them. We'll wait for a couple of minutes for the audience to join in. We'll wait for a few minutes for the audience to join before we start the session. So it's 9 a.m. already. Nishit, do you suggest we should start the session?
Yeah, we can start with the introduction video.
Sure.
Divakar. Kajal, you can start.
Sure. Um, I would like to first introduce the first guest of the morning, Mr. Mudit Mathur. He heads projects, new business, and also heads CISO for EasyGov. And he has over 16 years of rich experience in companies like Accenture, Ernst& Young, KPMG. He has a global and domestic experience in technology consulting combined with experience in government projects. He's an MBA from Shailesh J. Mehta School of Management, IIT Bombay, and BTech from Delhi College of Engineering. A very warm welcome to Mr. Mudit Mathur, and over to you, sir.
Hi, Kajal. Thank you for the kind introduction. When I got the email from our HR that there's a topic on seeing opportunity in the challenge, I was excited to talk about the topic. And also, since it's related to something that I have started recently, which is mindfulness, the topic really connected with me. Uh, I don't want to give anything, I don't want to talk about anything that I don't follow myself during this discussion today. And whatever I'm going to say uh, are things that I have adopted in my own life, not necessarily because of the COVID virus and the lockdown and phase one, phase two of the opening up, but generally things that I think helped me personally, right? So there's a when I was just trying to think about the things that I want to say, I was looking at social media updates and I came across this nice quote, and which is sort of a coincidence as well that I saw it yesterday and I was supposed to talk today. If it can't be solved, there is no need to worry. If it cannot be solved, then worry is of no use. So this quote is attributed to the Dalai Lama, but I'm sure there are other versions of the same quote floating around the internet. So I think this really connects with not just me, but with everyone uh, on the panel or people who are listening in or others as well. That it's always better to focus on what is in your control rather than focus on what things which are not in your control. And if you get things which are in your control in order, you can create time to become more resilient and face challenges that you can't control. So all of us have the lockdown, we don't venture out because we can control the disease coming to us. But if all of us decide that, no, I can't do anything and let me just go out and be irresponsible, then there is a strong chance that we will get affected by it. And then we will beat ourselves about why did I go out? Why did I transmit this to my family? And why did this have to happen to me? So I think this is something that really connects with us. Obviously, all of us are rightly anxious about the situation. This is something that no one has ever really prepared for. We had SARS and MERS and other things which were very, very localized. India has not been impacted by these things. We had something similar in Kerala a little while back. But by and large, none of us on the call or otherwise have faced a situation where the pandemic is at a global scale, and most of us are not prepared for it. So when we are not prepared for something, the first reaction is denial, obviously. But once we overcome the denial, there's a lot of anxiety or anxiousness associated with that. So the first 3 weeks of the lockdown were very exciting for everyone. We were working from home. Some of us who were traveling, interacting with people, it was a sudden change for us. And as a person, I also like to travel, meet new people, interact with people, and really understand what the challenges that my clients or my peers are trying to address or are trying to face and help them solve that problem. And that's the reason why I spent a considerable amount of time in consulting as well. But after the first 2 or 3 weeks, when we sort of had the realization that this is not going away anytime soon, we had to do something about it. It's been 6 months. No one ever anticipated that it's going to take 6 months for things to not even settle down, let alone uh, reduce. But obviously, times like this, like I said, make all of us anxious. So we might be worried about ourselves. So what will happen to my health if I venture out? What will happen if I touch something in the store with somebody who might have the infection might have touched? What will happen to my family? Will they be safe? Should I let my kids go downstairs to play? What will happen to my job? Will I be finally financially secure after the lockdown is or after the coronavirus is gone? Will I be in a position to support my family? Will I have a job? Will my company exist? So there are a lot of things that we worry about, and all these are rational fears which come to our mind. And obviously, as humans, I don't think anyone can say that I don't worry about anything in the world. So it's good to worry, but what is important is turning that anxiety or that worry into a well thought out strategy. And I know it sounds very theoretical, probably a lot easier to say for me than actually to implement, not just in my life but in others' lives as well. But what we need to do is take reasonable precautions. So all of us wash our hands when we come back home. We don't touch anything when we enter home. We wear a mask when we go downstairs or go out of the house. If someone rings the bell, we first check who it is and then grab the nearest mask. We have a tendency to carry sanitizer. So all this is coming because we have channeled our anxiety into something productive. Or it's not always easy to do that. And with the current scenario, when we don't know what the end is, and it's like an unending roller coaster ride. In a roller coaster, that is after 90 seconds I'll be on safe land, but here you don't. So we worry because we don't know what is going to happen. We know that for the last 6 months all of us have been stuck at home, whereas humans are social. We like to meet people, irrespective of how much we say that we like staying at home and don't. But we want to go out. We want to order food from outside. So what has really worked for me, I think, in the last 6 months is one that I live with my family. Uh, there are people around me all the time, but a couple of things which I did early on during the lockdown is that since most of my time was spent outside the house, either going to office or going for client meetings, 1 or 2 days of travel a week. And prior to that, I was traveling 4 to 5 days a week. I actually tried to think of things that I would like to do. So I started focusing a little bit on my health, and I started doing intermittent fasting because since I'm not going to office and I'm not traveling, I'm not ordering in, all these things, taking care of your diet becomes a whole lot easier. And I managed to lose a bit of weight, and I'm trying to gain back some of the weight because I think I've lost more than what I had started off by. So this is just one example. The other things that I think what all of us at EasyGov also did is we started encouraging people to take some trainings online. So because people now have a bit more time, I know the work-life balance is a little off these days. There is no end to the work. So earlier we got into office at 9:30. We left the office at about 7, and once we get back home, very rarely would you get engaged in a call. But these days the excitement is so much, or things are moving, so we are all excited about things. It's very difficult to draw the boundary when work starts and when work ends. And all of us do suffer from that. I'm not going to say that try to manage that, because, like I started off by saying, that I'm going to only talk about things that have worked for me and not what the theory is. So it's, even though it's difficult to set the boundaries, it also gives you a bit of time to yourself because you're not commuting. So people who were waking up at 7 in the morning and reaching office at 9 obviously had about a 30 to 40 minute commute at the very least. If you're living in a city like Bombay or Delhi, the commute might be longer. So you're getting some of that time back as well. I know there are household chores to be done and more things for us to do. But if we start organizing ourselves and start following a routine, we can get some sanity back in, right? And what I mean by routine is that if you're waking up at 7 earlier, please wake up at 7 even now. If you're waking up at 9 o'clock earlier, maybe make that 8:30 so that you get that extra half an hour. Uh, have a end time, or at least a time for yourself in the evenings or afternoons where you do nothing related to work. Maybe lie down for 10-15 minutes. And it has also sort of changed the way we interact with people. So the number of people that I've been able to catch up with in the last 6 months, I wasn't doing that earlier. So with my school friends that I've had lost touch with, or my engineering college friends, or my MBA friends, it's much easier to connect with them because weekends no one is really stepping out. It's easier to find a common time slot when everyone is at, or rather everyone is at home. It's easier to find a time slot when everyone is available. So that is something that has helped me. But I think one thing that I had been trying to do for a long time and didn't really make the time to do that is also mindfulness. And I'm not saying that just because today, the topic is heartfulness, but I think mindfulness is a very good way to relax. And the mindfulness exercise could be as short as maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or longer ones if you have the patience or the time to do that, right? So I usually stick to maybe a 10. Actually, I have a video from YouTube, and there are other apps as well, like Calm and Mindfulness and other applications which have these exercises online. And in a typical week, I try to do it 3 to 4 times a week, and where I just, for 9 minutes 48 seconds, that's the exact duration of the video, I just sit on a chair and focus on the voice which is coming through my earbuds. And I think that really helps me put things into perspective. And mindfulness, if you any of you follow that, it doesn't say that you should forget about what is happening around you. It just helps you focus better. So mindfulness could be a short thing that it doesn't have to be necessarily sitting in a chair and listening to somebody giving you instructions on how to breathe. It could be something as simple as you sitting at your desk in the morning, thinking about the things that you need to accomplish today, making a list of things that you need to do, and then trying to break down your work. So mindfulness for me essentially means focusing on what you are doing and all of us don't get time to do that, right? In a typical day, out of 9 or 10 hours of a working day, you are thinking about the presentation deck that you need to create, you're thinking about the 3 people you need to call, you're looking at your WhatsApp messages, and you're not really mindful or not really present in what you are doing at that point of time. So even if you make it 5 minutes in the morning just to start your day and think about what you want to accomplish, I think you will feel a lot better. And the routine part that I talked about also helps, because then you know what is going to happen next. And that feeling of not knowing sort of goes away. I'd also, say that should exercise, but I'm pretty lazy that way. I don't do that myself. But yes, whatever you can do, revive your hobbies, right? So all of us claim to have hobbies. In the first 2 years of our career, we write hobbies on our CV, and then slowly we drop them. The reason for that is we don't make time for ourselves. We don't make time for those hobbies. So this is a good opportunity where you don't have to worry about going out. You don't have to worry about the commute. You're not frustrated with the traffic. So it's a good time to revise some of those hobbies. It could be a simple hobby like reading or cooking, or something complex like artwork that you were doing earlier. But try to find some time for yourself, be it through mindfulness, be it through reviving a hobby, or be it just thinking about or reflecting on what you're going to do today or what have you achieved today. So I mean, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. And obviously an often repeated quote is that this too shall pass, and it will pass. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mudit. That the points that you covered were to the apt. I mean, it just hit the right chords. And, these are some things we've been experiencing day in, day out. And you've summarized so well how we really take care of that anxiety and that fear in us. And of course, meditation is always down ourselves and take time and understanding what is what is it that we are gaining out of this entire situation. People end up looking at the negatives summed up. Thank you so much. We'd like to now and invite our next guest, Mr. Farooq Adam. Farooq is the co-founder of Find, and which is India's largest O2O fashion platform. At Find, he takes care of the overall strategic vision and heads the product, engineering, and growth. Formerly, he worked as a management, Mr. Farooq Adam. At Find, he worked as a management, formerly he worked as a management and big data analytics. Invite our next. He has experience in not only in India but also in New York. He graduated from IIT Bombay in 2008 with a master's in structural engineering and bachelor in civil engineering. He has authored several papers and he has written a book on structural engineering as well. In his spare time, he likes traveling, playing sports, trekking, scuba diving, and photography. Last year, he completed the Everest base camp trek. Nice. Welcome, Farooq. And yes, over to you.
Thank you, Kajal. Thank you, Mudit. Mudit has been eloquent and covered a lot of the things I wanted to cover. So I'm going to talk about how the personal journey in this lockdown kind of evolved, and given that all of us would be in very similar situation. When the lockdown started, we assumed it's going to be like a 2-3 week phenomena, and we thought we're going to get back to normal very quickly, and then that got extended and it got extended. The first few weeks went relatively easier. It felt as if we are having summer vacations, but then still started the next set of weeks is when things started hitting us that this is going to be for long. First thing that we kind of reactively try to do at the company itself was to ensure that everyone could start, getting busy and getting upskilled. So we created what we called Flex University, and we, started, wherever skills we needed to teach them, we started teaching them. Personally, I started, I took up a 40-day challenge to get my fitness goals, and I changed my diet. I went on intermittent fasting, got rid of sugar in my diet, got rid of wheat, got rid of white rice, anything which is processed, got rid of it. Uh, those 40 days were all about, kind of getting my body in shape, and, and ensuring, everyone is working, everyone is, occupied. As we started doing that, we started realizing, right, there is this one very large aspect of well-being that we are missing, is how do we keep our mind happy? How do we keep our mind relaxed? Right? We are able to do everything, which is physical in terms of engagement, but how do we kind of do what is going to allow people to, feel comfortable, feel secure, and feel happy on a day-to-day basis? And that's when we kind of started a well-being initiative in the company itself. We would start with, yoga classes in the evening. We would start with activity sessions in the morning. We started then allowed people to take a 1 hour of mindfulness anytime they want during the day. We started asking people to go on, forced leaves, take leaves, take, zone out, get away from your laptops. We started, small things to enable, people to feel happy. We would send, daily inspiration quotes saying that we're all in it together. Resilience is what is going to get us out there. And overall, what I've found is that, all of us are in it together. And if there are small habit changes that we do, they go in a long way to ensure that, all of us are going to be all of us come out from this much happier and better. We have more time than before, but now that time is also kind of eating into us, and it is getting more and more difficult to kind of, have that extra time. We are getting fatigued with staying indoors. We're getting fatigued with the same routines of, from bedroom to living room to study. We've stopped walking as much as we used to before. On an average, before people used to walk 5,000 steps. Now we're not doing even 1,000, 2,000 steps. So these realities, and as leaders, we've started, spending more and more time talking about it in the company, trying to lead it by example. We started an internal walking competition. I started, sharing, tips and videos of, how, we can do, 5-minute sessions of meditations, or 10-minute, activity sessions. Uh, all in all, it is going to be a personal journey and quest for all. We can use this as an opportunity to improve ourselves, get back to our friends. I mean, I started playing chess with my friends who are, spread all over the world, which is something I would have never done before. Now I'm starting to get in touch with a lot of my friends on new WhatsApp groups that are being created, so that, that interaction chatter keeps happening. Have actively stopped, looking at social media and news on a regular basis. I just read the newspaper once a day, and but not look at anything, because we don't need any, more anxiety or toxicity to come in our minds. Try, reading books before you sleep rather than watching TV. So I've started, reading a lot of Rumi, which, gives me one very much peaceful sleep, as, watching some, series. We are a function of, the conditions we have around it, but helpfully now we can have a lot of control on that situation. So for this, it will require is immense discipline and perseverance, and it's not easy. There are days where really bad days, where days we feel as if, things are not going our way, but stick to it, hang in there. Everyone is in it together. We will come out of it one way or the other, stronger, more resilient. And at Find, we have multiple channels of, bringing it out up there. And thank you, Gio, for organizing this session, which has allowed us, our team, to now even look at a bigger platform for getting help. Uh, and all in all, this is a personal quest of self-improvement, and that is the opportunity that I see in this crisis. It has given us more time to kind of introspect for all the things that we wanted to achieve personally. This is the time for us to do it. It will require us, discipline. We'll fail. It's okay. But as long as we keep trying, as long as we're being at it, there will be improvement, and improvements will be small. And it's only after you look after 30, 40 days, you'll kind of realize, wow, I've lost so much weight, or I've lost so much inch, or I know so much more. Uh, so be in there, be patient, be resilient, and ask for help whenever required. There is no shame in asking for help. There will be bad days, there will be great days. uh, we need to be there for each other all the time. I think that's all I have to say, Kajal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kajal, are you there? I guess there's a network issue. Okay, so meanwhile she'll come back. I will ask Subramanian to come and introduce yourself. He's a heartfulness trainer. Over to you, Subramanian.
Okay, thank you, Nishit. And I must thank Mudit and Farooq for setting the platform in such an impactful way, because they have shared not gyan, but they have given personal experience. And I'm quite impressed by all the topics that they already covered, much of which is going to come again, maybe in a slightly different format when I go through the heartfulness process. So thank you once again. And I am quite privileged and happy to be with you all this morning. And this is an experiential session, so we will try and make it interactive. I don't know how much we can, but at least you'll have enough time to think and reflect and take away some useful tools. So let me just quickly share my screen and get going. All right, so our theme is seeing opportunity in the challenge, and I think Mudit and Farooq have already touched on the idea behind this topic, so we will just go further and get into the nub of the program. Quick introduction about myself. I come from a long corporate background in senior leadership positions in FMCG, pharma, financial services, and also been practicing meditation 25 years and 16 years as a trainer with Heartfulness. My other interest includes conservation and community welfare focused. I'm a managing trustee in a couple of them, and I was quite thrilled to hear Farooq talk about his trekking and scuba diving and all his outdoor activities. I have been there, seen that. Today it is something that I think nostalgically, much of it is not a lack of time, but yes, when occasion I do go bird watching and enjoy myself. So this today, if you were to look at whatever Budit and Farooq have shared in terms of the COVID, we have seen in this a different take. It is like if you were to put yourself in the form of a caterpillar and you entered this cocoon, which has now lasted 6 months, maybe last a little longer. This is an opportunity for transformation, a metamorphosis, if you want to think about it. So we are using this period of pause to enter into the ability to be poised. Now, that is the underlying idea behind this whole heartfulness process. And I read a beautiful statement that came in April at the height of when the whole lockdown started. There was this gentleman on internet who mentioned, we are all not in the same boat. We're all in the same storm. Just think about it, reflect on it. The storm is the same. It's all COVID, the worldwide global pandemic unheard of before. Everybody's facing the same challenges: to go out, not to go out, to take medication, not to take medication, to wear mask or not to wear mask. All that was already covered. Question is, we all are equipped in different ways. We all have different boats. Our ability to steer this, navigate this storm is what is being challenged. Is this the only storm that's going to come in our life? No. There'll be many other storms, the size of which we don't yet know. This perhaps is the biggest storm that we have faced in our lifetime. But is this all? No, not at all. So how do we prepare for it? How do we respond is what we should be thinking about. So in that subject, I remember one very beautiful book that I had read called Man's Search for Meaning, written by Dr. Viktor Frankl. He's an Austrian doctor who survived the Jewish Holocaust. He was in the concentration camp for 17 years. He saw the worst of human torture. He came out at the end of the war, and he went on to make his experience something meaningful for everybody who went through the same. Many people contemplated suicide, many did, and he took it upon himself to prevent as many people from committing suicide by giving them a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose. And his experience was translated into this book called Man's Search of Meaning. So in that book, there is one particular statement for me which has been a kind of a cardinal rule that I've tried to live by, where he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So the three key words here: stimulus, space, response. If you look at the life that we're leading today, as we sit here, as you're sitting in your respective homes, rooms, wherever you are, there's always stimulus around us. Stimulus is coming from the external environment. There could be a phone call, there could be a WhatsApp message, there could be an Instagram post, there could be somebody talking in the background, there could be some birds flying right in front of you. You could have another screen on. Your mind may be working. All this is stimulus. And the point here is, how do I respond? When do I respond? What kind of response will that be? Now, what decides that response is the space that we allocate between that stimulus and the response that we choose. Now, the ability to choose the space, number one, to know that there is a space is the first thing. Do we realize there is a space to choose when there is a stimulus that comes our way? Any trigger, anything that provokes an action or a response from us is a stimulus. The question to ask yourself is, how much space do you give when there is a stimulus? Now, the COVID has forced upon us a huge space. The COVID is the stimulus, and we are left with a situation where our responses have been completely taken away because we're waiting. We are waiting in suspense. And that's a huge space, 6 months up. And we don't know how many more months before a vaccine or some kind of a miracle happens. The people learn how to manage it, whatever that could be. The response could be multiple people. Even now, people talk about COVID in multiple ways. The responses are different. So that itself shows that there is space between that stimulus and the response we're giving. And a very important aspect about response is, no response is also a response. Now, the word response needs to be distinguished from reaction. Our brain is wired to react. Okay, and that is because of the way we are wired. From millennia, we have evolved from the basic organisms, the amoebal organisms, all the way down to the highest form of evolution, which is human at the moment, as we think it is. So the brain system, some part of the brain is still in the primordial. It is still the primitive side, which is called the lower brain or the survival brain. So if you look at this near the brain stem, we have this survival part of the brain, which is called the amygdala, which is the one that triggers the flight, fight, and freeze response. I'm sure you've heard of it. This happens during high emotions, where there is anything that threatens us. There is a survival question. Immediately, the amygdala takes over. It's also called the amygdala hijack. That time, our higher cortex, the prefrontal cortex, which is unique to the human brain, no other living being has this cortex, which is the cognitive side of the brain, the thinking brain, the purely human brain. It is disabled because the amygdala says, I have to help this body survive. So adrenaline starts pumping, cortisol starts coming, all the chemicals which enables the body to get into a heightened state of awareness and capability of moving gets take charge. So obviously your body is in a very stressed state. It is okay when it is in small doses, but when it continues to persist for a long time, it leaves damage. That's why we have hypertension, we have ulcers, we have all these stress related issues, because in today's world, so much stimulus comes to us every day that we are continuously in a state of amygdala hijack. Now, Farooq mentioned about the fact he has stopped reading newspapers, he stopped, social media. Obviously, he has taken a very conscious, higher cortex enabled decision that I will not let these distractions come and upset my emotional balance. So when you avoid a stimulus of that kind, you move to a more emotionally balanced, calm, relaxed state. You activate your higher cortex. You deactivate the amygdala response, which is the default response of human beings. So every time you switch on and hear what the nation wants to know, your amygdala gets into hijack mode. When you read about what's happening on any of the recent Mumbai incidents related to all the problems that's happening there, your amygdala gets hijacked. That's what's happening. So we have to decide what to respond to and keep ourselves in the cortex, higher cortex mode. All this requires some skill, some practice, some process, some structure, because hearing us say something and doing something about it, there is a huge space. So that stimulus and response, there's a space as well. All right. So I want to quickly get you into a little activity to set the tone for what's coming next. I want you to visualize. Just close your eyes and visualize that you're right in the middle of this circle. You are in the middle of the circle, and there are 3 circles around you. The largest circle, the biggest one around, is everything that's happening around you, all the stimulus that's happening around you, on which you have no control at all. You cannot change anything. But they are the events and the stimulus that continues to influence you, control you, makes you respond, stimulates you, maybe makes you anxious, worried, and in some cases, many cases, entertains you also. Right? You enjoy it. At the same time, you can do nothing about it. Now that is all. There are 1, 2, 3 circles. So we're going to talk about the first circle now. And remember, now we are in what is called the VUCA world. It's always been a VUCA world: volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. But now I heard somebody say it's e-VUCA, that is the extreme VUCA world, right? So just capture on the chat box. I want you to think for 30 seconds and come up with one such event or stimulus in your life which is completely not in your control, which you're concerned about. Maybe it entertains you, but it's something that is always there in the back of your head. It's there, you're interacting with it, you are responding to it. Do we have the chat box on, or can I see the chats? Yes, I can. Yeah. So just take about 15-20 seconds, come up with one word, and when I say go, simultaneously you can press your return button. So type it and keep it ready. 15 seconds. Think about 1 or 2 such event, stimulus in your life which is in that circle where you can do nothing about it. You cannot change anything, but it has a way of influencing the way you respond. It is there in the back of your head. It creates anxiety, whatever. Okay, please post it now. Go ahead and share what words come. Nishit, they have access to chat, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Go ahead, please. I would like to see some thoughts from your side. I'm not saying anything, Nishit, unless they're taking a lot of space between the stimulus that I've given them.
No, so in the YouTube chat, people have started commenting.
Okay. Just share that for me, please, so that I can.
Okay, so one person is saying that passing of a loved one, work-life balance.
Okay.
Mudit is saying current situation of not being able to travel.
Okay.
So still comments are pouring. Maybe you can comment on.
Okay, fine. You're getting the gist of it. That's fine. So in the interest of time, I'll move on. Great. So some of those examples are typical examples. So we have been collating these responses from our previous participants, and I've just put in here something for the convenience. So you see here, in the circle of concern, which incidentally is the biggest circle around us continuously that we are interacting with. You see, there are so many of them. Of course, COVID-19 takes the prime place. And as a result of COVID-19, we have a new generation of COVIDiates whose job in life is to just provoke and trouble and keep people on their toes by sharing fake news. We are worried about job, pay cuts, the GDP. We are following the percentage of GDP as if we have something to do with it, though we cannot. We are worried about the economy, the stock market, petrol prices, forex, the traffic. Of course, it's a perpetual problem. We do nothing. We can't do anything about it, but we still talk about it. Some are worried about aliens. Some are worried about life after death. The weather, of course. What's happening to celebrities? Social media, of course, is a constant problem. CAA, IPL, Bollywood, natural calamities, politics, competition, regulations, taxation, mergers, acquisitions. Depending on what is your pace of life, nature of job, role that you play, you have different kinds of concerns. This is not an exhaustive list. It's just an indicative list. Each of us will have our own unique concerns. But the most important point is you can do nothing about these things. They influence you, they dictate your lives, but you can do nothing about them. Think about it. But look at how much time do we spend on these. Modi did mention about this, about the fact that there are a lot of things that are not in our control that we should learn to not waste our time on. And I'm just elaborating this further with a more clear understanding of the range of such things that's impacting our life. So that's one. Now, what is there's a new concern of triggered completely by COVID. This is a new circle that has been created for us, which is continuing. We are in that bubble. We're worried about the lockdown. We're worried about how can I multitask, my security at job. How do I motivate employees? People or employers, they have this huge challenge, cash flow management, inventory management. How do I keep my business going? Inability to socialize. People are missing out on having face-to-face interaction with friends and families. There's a lot of fake news that we have to deal with. So on and so forth, daily essentials. So this is a circle within that circle. So in each area, we have multiple concerns that keeps gnawing at that, creating a lot of anxiety, which we have no control over. Then we come to the second circle, a smaller one, which is what we call the circle of influence. As the name suggests, it is something that I have no control over. I cannot change fully, but I can influence. I can work on it. There is something that I can make an attempt to change. And because of the fact that it is possible, the only thing that I can possible is with the people I can influence. I cannot influence the events, but I can influence the people. And these people are those who come in my circle. These are my stakeholders, my siblings, my boss, my peers, my direct reports, spouse, friends, parents, relatives, domestic help, who has full control over us, incidentally, and of course, people who live in our community. So this is to do with our personal relationships. So through my credibility, through my professional skills, through my experience, through my expertise, through my relationships, through my intimacy, I am able to, maybe to some extent, influence these people. No control. Again, these people are not under my control. My own children, my own spouse, no way, no control. So now we are left with the third, the smallest circle, the closest one, which is obviously the only thing that we have got full control over. The span is very small. It's very, very focused. And what is that circle of control? Very simple. It's about how much I eat, how much I sleep, how much I exercise, how much I meditate, how much I socialize, how much I read, how much I educate, donate, do charity work, attend webinars of this kind, All these are, the focus is completely within me. I have the ability to control this. We know all this. I'm not telling you anything which is rocket science. So far, what I told you, what Mudit or Farooq have shared with you, it's all not rocket science. It's something that we all know. The problem is that when you know something, the question is, what are you doing about it? Right? Knowing and doing are two different things. So compliance is always the problem. And for compliance, we need discipline. So there are certain things that we need to start, stop, continue, and change. What do I start doing? Things that I have not been doing in my circle of control enough. What do I need to stop doing? I need to stop wasting time in the circle of concern. Pick up all the things that I am letting take control of me, and instead reverse it and say, I need to take control of myself. I don't want events to take control of me. So reduce the circle of concern. Circle 1, reduce its size. Reduce the footprint of these events on my life. In my own life example, it's about 13, 14 years since I stopped reading newspapers. After 13, 14 years since I stopped watching news channels. Absolutely no news channels, absolutely no newspapers. If I need news, I go find it, and I'm very selective about what I read. Made a huge impact on my life. It's given me 2 to 3 hours per day, straight away, by just not letting these things take my time. Increase the circle of influence. Look at the stakeholders in your life. See how much you need to invest in relationship building, whether it's networking, whether it's social networking, doesn't matter. Spend time on that. And more importantly, intensify the control on your own life. Continue doing what you're doing well, change what you need to change. And the question is, how do I do this? Again, it's always how. Everybody knows this. It's an aspect of mastering yourself. A lovely story, which basically the moral of the story is very simple, saying, what is mastering? What is a master? Who is a master? And a master, summing up, is that mastery is nothing but doing the basics extraordinarily well. So these are basics. Understanding what is in the circle of concern, what is that in the circle of influence, what is in the circle of control. These are basics. Question is, how well am I doing it? Am I reflecting every morning on what are the areas that I'm good to spend time on and what I'm not going to spend no time on? There is a Harvard Business School research that went into challenging people to write a list of what not to do, because there is always this common idea of what to do. Every morning people get up and write, this is my to-do list for the day. The question to ask here is, do you write a not to-do list? How many people write not to-do list? I don't think many of you would do. And if you're doing it, good for you. But that's a wonderful practice, because many a time that not to-do list is nothing but what is there in the circle of concern. And the to-do list should be to do with your circle of influence and control. So the very act of breaking this into two distinct parts has a huge impact on the way you're going to lead your life. Now, who's going to make this happen for you on a daily basis? Who? Obviously, the answer is you. Right? How do I become more responsible versus reactive? Right? So, responsible, if you see the root word for responsible, is ability to respond. Is able to respond. So we have to develop this ability to respond. And for that, I need to know how to control myself. Right? So that's where Heartfulness has come up with very simple core practices. There are 4 simple basic practices. One is a simple relaxation for the body, a meditation to help you settle the mind, generate the ability for a peaceful heart. The rejuvenation is again a part of how do I manage this in the circle of concern. And the inner connect is how do I continue to maintain a control over myself. So through relaxation, meditation, rejuvenation, inner connect, I am managing my circle of concern, I manage a circle of influence and my circle of control. That's all. So these are tools to enable you to actually navigate this circle on a daily basis, managing the stimulus, creating the space, and deciding the response. So what I'll be doing first is I'll take you through the relaxation practice. So here it's an experiential one, a very simple practice. It just takes 2 to 3 minutes, and you can do it any number of times in a day. This enables you to basically relax your body. It's a very simple self-instructed guide. You don't need an external guidance for this. The first time I will tell you Next time onwards, there are these audio recordings available online for you to just listen to it and relax. And with a couple of times, you will get this, and you can do this any number of times anywhere. So I'm going to do that first for you, and then I'm going to take you to the core practice number 2. So let me first explain this core practice number 2, which is meditation. And from there, we'll combine the relaxation and meditation in one flow, so that you relax your body, settle your mind, connect with your heart, and experience something for the first time, which will be quite unique. So let me talk about meditation now. What is meditation? If I'd ask the audience, who I'm not able to see, but I'll just visualize you. If I say, hey, how many of you meditate? Ask you to raise your hands. Maybe there'll be about a few hands that will go up. And the general impression is that most people say, no, I don't meditate. Because the idea is people think meditation is about sitting peacefully, closing eyes, and it is only done by people in that way. I would like to correct that impression, because meditation is not just that. Maybe correct meditation is that, but we all meditate. Each one of you who is on this call at this point in time, I can tell you and put you at ease by saying that each one of you are already meditating, right? And how is that? For that, let me first bring these two factors that make up the distinction between meditation and other things that we do. So one is focus. How focused is that activity, and how unfocused is what is the extreme, being focused and unfocused. And the cross line is effort and effortless. So the quadrants created by this will tell you what is the distinction. At the lowest left corner is anything that we do which requires a lot of effort, but is very difficult to focus. What happens as a result is frustration. Now, the example typically that comes to me is during my college years, I used to be having this problem when it came to learning tax, income tax. Very difficult, very frustrating. Great effort I used to put, but I was not able to focus because too many numbers to remember, too many sections to quote, and it was a big challenge. So when I started the first time, it was really very, very frustrating. But over a period of time, I learned to focus, right? And I'll come to that soon. Now, the other part, the other side, right bottom is where there's no focus required. It's not it's difficult to focus. There's no focus required, and it's effortless as well. So that's daydreaming. That you'll find many of us do it effortlessly. Just sit there, stare into the heaven, just close your eyes, no thoughts, just drifting, absolutely no purpose, nothing, just effortless. So you see a lot of small children experience that. It's a joyful experience for them. They have a sense of wonder. It's nothing wrong or right, no judgment on that. It's just that there's nothing in it, there's no focus and no effort as well. Then comes the top left, which is where there is focus, but it requires a lot of effort. Right? So that is concentration. Focus plus effort is concentration. So when I learned to develop that for my income tax studies, I started absorbing, but it used to exhaust me because the effort was quite high, because it required memorizing. It required a lot of something that I didn't like doing. So I had to change the way I looked at it and said, no choice. I have to pass this exam to get through my college as well as my qualifications. Then comes the top right corner, which is the lovely sweet spot of being able to focus, and that too effortlessly. Right? So that is what we are going to talk about. And many of us do it unconsciously, not consciously. So we are going to get into meditation consciously. What is unconscious meditation? You're watching a lovely Netflix movie or a Prime Video. You're engrossed in it effortlessly. You're focused. 3 hours, 4 hours. It could be a binge. You're just watching one serial after another. You're very curious what's happening next episode. So multiple episodes. You don't realize the time passed by. You don't see what's up, and the sun has set. Your food, your coffee has left cold in the table. You're in meditation. You're focused. It's effortless. You don't even realize it. You're reading a great book. Same. You're doing something. You're walking on the hills. You're playing music. You're listening to music. Anything that is focused and effortless is, in fact, a form of meditation. The question is, what's the object of it? Right? That decides the quality of the meditation. That decides the outcome. So when it is something that is disturbing, obviously the result is going to be disturbing. But when it is something very serene, the outcome is going to be serene. So in heartfulness, we say, hey, do meditation. Do meditation on the most precious asset, the heart. It's within you. You don't need to focus anywhere outside. And with this, you are able to refine multiple things at the physical level and the mental and emotional level, and of course the spiritual level. So it's like a 3-in-1, just a simple 3-in-1 approach. So you are able to relax your body, you're able to settle your mind and generate peace in your heart. At a physical level, the heart is actually, if you look at the way the body is structured, it's right in the center of the body. Minus, if you remove the legs and the legs, you're right in the center, the heart, and it's the one that pumps blood and keeps the entire body system alive. You've heard of a lot of people being brain dead, but you'll never hear of people who are heart dead and alive. So as long as the heart is kicking, you're alive. Similarly, the heart is the center of emotion. It's the center of feeling. You feel things through your heart. You describe people through their heart, saying courageous heart, soft heart, hard heart, cruel heart, love, compassion. These words emanate from the center of the heart. And of course, the heart is seen as the seat of the spiritual, the seat of the God, seat of the divine, and most important, love. Right? So when we focus on that as the object of a meditation, obviously it's going to bring that refinement, this transformation that we talked about in the beginning, saying, how can I become that butterfly from the caterpillar? How can I manage the circles of concern, increase my circle of influence, become more controlled? In the word control is slightly, we find it a little harsh. We say, can I regulate my mind? It's like trying to control a wild stallion. The more you try and rein the horse and tie it, it's going to beat itself to death. It's because it's designed to run. Our brain is also designed to think. We cannot control the brain, the mind. So what do? We regulate it. We make it run in the direction that we want it to run. And that is, how do I do it? It's by using my heart. The mind field is a wonderful field for us to explore. The journey of exploration. It's a sense of understanding my original state. I go deep within myself to find the answers to all my questions, both existential and future. My decision-making ability gets refined because I am dipping into the wisdom of my own self. I do not need any external inputs. Yes, we need some learning, we need some education, we need some external input, but that should not be the only thing that we rely on. The heart is where we can find the distinction between right and wrong. Right? So that is the point on why we meditate on the heart. And in our process, we also have a very important element of meditation, which is what is called a transmission. It's called a yogic transmission. I'll come to that. We'll talk about it a little more further tomorrow and day after. But enough to know that this is a age-old system of a source, the energy coming from the source. The source is nothing but the universe. Everything that has been created around us is what the source is capable of. So we are drawing that particular energy from that source, which enables us to focus during the course of our meditation. And the most important thing about that is that it's transformative. So in that, our meditation is about bringing a change within ourselves. So that when we get into meditation, when we get in, the person that who got in would have transformed to some extent by the time the meditation ends. So every meditation should be a transformative experience, because we are moving from being human beings to refined human beings, and eventually we become what we are capable of, which is of being divine beings. Nothing but bringing the godliness within us, evoking that ability to be that what we are originally designed to be: pure, simple, positive. Three things that we are designed to be. Pure, simple, positive. Today we are not so pure, we are very complicated, and we tend to be very negative. How can I get back to my original state? That is this process. So now it's a good time for us to practice. Let us relax and then meditate. So for that, I'm going to invite you all to sit comfortably. Put your feet on the ground. If you're sitting in a chair, if you're seated on the floor, that is fine. Continue to be seated the way you're seated. Close your eyes. Please ensure that you don't have any telephone or any digital disturbance around you so that you can focus on the meditation. In our, as I've already mentioned, we focus on the heart as the center point of meditation because you need a focus. So it's a physical heart we focus on. And for those who have GPS issues on where the heart is, it is to the left. So focus around the area on the left side, right from where your left nipple is, and that whole area, you can, it's a general, just focus on that whole area. That's all you need to do. It just enables you to have an object to meditate on. We'll come to that. I'll guide you through that process. So for now, just close your eyes. Drop your shoulders. You can call this a simple micro practice. Every time, remember to drop your shoulders and relax. You carry a lot of tension in your shoulders, so just relax. Normalize your breathing. Keep your spine straight. Head, do not rest it on anything, just let it be free. Feet firmly on the ground, hands on your thighs. Draw your attention to your feet. Make sure eyes are closed. And visualize a stream of healing energy entering your feet through the sole from Mother Earth and caressing and relaxing your entire soul. Gently moving all over your feet. Just flex your toes. Feel that current flowing through your feet. Relaxing and releasing all the tension in your feet. Flowing upwards through your ankles. Relaxing the calf muscles. Softening all the tissues, the muscles, the sinews. Moving upwards. Releasing stress and tension in your knee joint. Going to the thigh muscles, softening it, relaxing it. Now flowing up to your hips and relaxing the entire circle around your hip. Your seat area, your pelvic area, entire hip region is getting relaxed, loose and soft. Visualize the hips melting away. The stream continues flowing upwards, relaxing the abdominal muscles, the stomach, the entire chest region. All the organs inside your chest area are getting relaxed. The stream of energy now reaches your shoulder joints. Feel the shoulders melting away. The Stream now passes all the way down your shoulders, your back, lower back, up to your tailbone, releasing all the stress and tension from your back, entire back. Relaxing all the muscles, sinews, tissues. Stream of energy is now flowing down your arms, both your arms, relaxing your upper arms, elbow joint, the forearms, the back of your palm, all your fingers. Visualize the energy oozing out of your fingertips, taking with it all the stress and the tension in your arms. Just feel a sense of relaxation, neck downwards all the way to the tip of your toes. Now observe the stream of energy flowing up through your neck, relaxing it, both the upper neck, lower neck, back of your neck, flowing upwards through your jaws, covering your entire face, including your lips, nose, eyes, forehead, cheeks, ears, completely relaxing all these parts of your face. Energy now flows through the back of your head, upwards, reaching the crown of your head. And finally, emerging out as a wisp of smoke, taking with it all the stresses and the tensions from your body. Gently scan your body like an X-ray machine, right from the top of your head to the entire body, all the way to the tip of your toe. And see if you feel any niggles, any blocks, any stress, any tension, anywhere. And just gently coax it away in the form of a small little smoke through the top of your head. Experience the fully relaxed body. In the process, you also enabled your mind to settle through a focused routine. The mind is settled. The body is relaxed. Now it's the turn of your heart. Draw attention now to the heart, the physical heart. Just put this gentle thought that the source of divine light is already present in my heart. And it is drawing me inwards. It's like a magnetic force that's pulling you inwards. So the source is nothing but the universal Yatman, the Brahman, the Prana, the God, the love, whatever defines it best for you. It's omnipresent. So it is part of you as much as you are part of it. You are now on an exploration. It's already there within you. Just that you lose connection. You're reconnecting with it. Do that with this thought. The source of divine light is already present in my heart, and it is drawing me inwards. Keep your awareness gently on this thought. Hold it for as long as you can. Any other thoughts that come in, treat it like passing clouds. Don't pay attention. When you pay attention, they grab and will create a stream of thoughts. Ignore them. If you do get drawn into the thoughts, remember that you are meditating on the divine light and draw back your attention to that thought. Continue to keep your awareness gently on this thought on your heart. And start your meditation until I call out. That's all. Please start meditation. That's all. Just keep your eyes gently closed for a few more moments. Observe yourself. Just capture how you're feeling. Just reflect on What was the state of your mind before you sat for meditation? And now, see whether you're able to sit still without any disturbances. But you're aware of the time that has passed. We have sat together for about 30 minutes now. Did many thoughts disturb you? All these are just internally you need to observe for yourself. And good practice is to journal it out every time you sit for meditation. Capture these answers, capture these insights, capture what you witnessed. Just write down a couple of lines. The physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. All these four aspects in the meditation. What was the experience? Some days nothing may happen, you just say no observations. Something may crop up. Write it down. You have a question in your mind, something that you're grappling with. When you sit for meditation, just let that question, post that question and sit, not expecting an answer as much as you're just opened it to the universe. And in the deep state of connection, something may emerge. This is the space that you create on a daily basis between the stimulus that is the world around you and the responses that you choose. It's a daily habit, a necessary one, because it will shape you. And in turn, you can shape your destiny. We'll have 2 more sessions in the coming days where we'll cover the rest of the core practices, rejuvenation and inner connect, which all complement each other so that you are in a 24/7 cycle of being in deep contemplation, being in connect with your real self, transforming yourself into that potential that you have within you, making your life purpose-filled, meaningful. Work-life balance keeps coming up as a discussion. You will realize that work is but just one small dimension of your life. There are other dimensions which you have yet not explored. Perhaps it's there, but you're not given it the time and the attention that it deserves. Work will be there. But is that all that defines you? No, there's more to it. So we will explore all that in the coming days. So I invite you into this journey, which is a lifelong journey, of which many of my colleagues in this call have been part of for many years. We're enjoying this journey. Our destination is the same. We got into this journey at various points in time. You're joining us here. We hope to see you with us through the future that we are going together with. And the word Jio is very, very aptly given. It's about how your life is going to be. Jio Shan se, Jio Dil se. Learn to live from your heart and regulate your mind. With that, I hand over the reins back to the anchor. And if there are any questions, any thoughts that may be answered, for those who have a hard stop, feel free to part ways with us. And thank you so much. Over to you. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you, Mr. Subbu. I guess we are going to wrap up the session with respect to time. Yes. In case any of the user have any queries, they may write it to us on gio@heartfulness.org. I'm repeating again. They can write it to us, gio@heartfulness.org. We will get back to them. And happy to see you tomorrow with our another intensive session of rejuvenation and inner connect. See you then.
Bye-bye.